Catastrophic. Our cat has gone missing and I know something beyond dreadful has happened to her. The love I feel is so zany and powerful and all-consuming that it's turned me finally fully enragedly mad. I haven't slept for 6 days and more nights. I'm so distraught and blood pressure fucked that I can't remember the last time I snuggled her down into a croissant shape in the duvet or smiled back in the still empty hours when she gently placed a claw on my cheek to let me know she's capable of piercing skin but is choosing not to. She really was, one powerful little furball of a witch. There's a bastard fox out there in the back garden right now the size of a Rottweiler. The second contender I mustered up to explain what might have happened was an opportunistic grab by scuzz buckets for a dogfight off the motorway in Finglas. They spray the white parts of the cats different colours, throwing them into large rustic cages with XL bullies and the likes, and they bet on what colour cat will die first. She rarely goes out in the pathways or the road, sticks to the welly of mature back gardens with their rake of trees, so I just don't understand what could have happened. Imagine the level of desensitisation that has to happen inside a person to get into the whole dogfighting shenanigans. We're talking Mom was a cock-sucking street corner hooker and Dad bet me up at his banister rail when I was 4 years old because his horse lost in a bet. Maybe a bit cliched of me to think exactly that, but sure, fuck it anyways. I have an annoying librarian friend who maintains the increase in starving foxes in suburban areas in Dublin is a living metaphor for capitalism moving in to finally eat us alive without the gravy. My friend lives on X, formerly known as blah blah, and spends all her time screaming misfired emotions at others who spend their days screaming misfired emotions. Ping pong for the terminally ridiculous. Foxes and cats are supposed to coexist peacefully, but then again, there are always the rule breakers. The good news is the risk of foxes attacking cats is very low, and there are some simple things you can do to help keep your cat safe. Most of all, I'm really upset because my ex, who died last year, he'd be all over the cat now. Rubbing, plumossing, bullshitting her. She was wrong about him. That none of what happened really happened. Ugh. The last I heard from Harry was around 18 months ago when he flung a few sad misses my way, explaining where he was at, and I hadn't the balls to tell him to do one. Since you asked, he emailed. I didn't ask. I was drinking whiskey for breakfast and hand-jobbing my way around dating apps trying to get over him. I was dosed up with 2 hours of chemo, then sent home with tablets to be consumed 5 times per day. After it was administered by drip, I felt a wave of weirdness with pins and needles, which reminded me of the time I got heat stroke in Rome in 1987 and thought God was following me down the Via del Corso with a basket of fresh tortellini. My God, like I give a shit. That man took all I had to give. End of finito. It took me 2 years to remove his poxy aftershave from odor memory and empty the garage of his Beethoven CDs and piles of football crud. We got the cat when we moved into our first home. Grey with a big white fluffy chest. Blue eyes. Mrs. Miggins. I named her. Thankfully I have that much to myself. She slept on our bed and followed us through the rooms, monitoring whatever we did in those microscopic moments of funky domestic love. I was ecstatic about all of it, really. Harry do me over the side of the blue 80s couch when he was supposed to be writing his demanding press releases. Me making ever increasingly gourmet food, bread to mop it all up, garlic butter and chili cheddar zop. Who was I kidding? The cat used to face away from us for a bit of privacy, but pin her pervy ears back to take in the bump of human noise. So funny. Me and him, crikey. So many recipe book dinners and night-long discussions at the Formica table, which countries in Europe to travel to, by what brand of train and when. Always about the next big thing and the next kick and the next clandestine high. Right manic asshole. The cat knew it. She knew more than me. I hadn't read any of the signs at all. I don't imagine he took to the death rattle well. But, well, I was spared that drama at the end. His new wet pussy had to endure all of that, which made me real warm inside, I won't lie. The cat had started pissing on his shirts around the time he started seeing the new yoke. She knew he had a partner, but she didn't care. She wrote that to me, a whole weekend of abusive emails. Some feminist you are! Because, I had made her suffer by proxy of being his. The pissing on the shirt was Mrs. Miggin's way of saying, look, watch out. Look what he's up to. There's another scent on here. On and on he wrote. The side effects so far are minimal. However, I cannot touch anything cold or metallic because if I do, I experience what can only be described as electric shocks. I guess the coolness reacts with something in the chemicals to produce this, so I slouch around with tea towels in my hand. Nor can I drink ice-cool water, ice cubes, or any chilled drinks. I'm told this will pass. For now, even water by the bed table has to be lukewarm. I was supposed to be interested now that cancer had arrived at the terminus. Once I was interested in absolutely everything about him. What his spoiled kids wanted for Christmas, if he hadn't shat for a week, his boss's refusal to send on a herogram for a new scoop he'd managed to hunt down. If I swallow cold drinks, they turn my tonsils into thorns, and the pain is so severe I think my throat is closing up. This induces panic, but I was warned in advance to sit still and breathe deeply. There is thankfully an emergency 24-hour mission line if I get horribly sick. I can be brought into the centre at any time of day or night for treatment. The line that got me was when he said he'd be kicking the booze for good. The yellow skin pallor was just exhaustion, apparently. Caused by overwork, of course. Dr. D had given him newfangled vitamin drench pills to combat it. 11